Welcome to Spirits Are Talking, hosted by Lisa Silverman. Join us every Tuesday night for live on-air psychic medium readings, crystal energy healings, oracle card readings, chakra balancing, and so much more. Host Lisa Silverman is a natural-born intuitive, psychic, medium, and spiritual life coach, working professionally in the metaphysical healing arts since 2015. Lisa communicates with loved ones and pets that have passed on for emotional healing and answers. Not to mention, she is an established interior designer since 2009, focusing on feng shui, modern design, and house healings by creating a harmonious energy flow for her clients. Now, your host of Spirits Are Talking, Lisa Silverman.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's July 18th, 2023, and I know you could be anywhere in the world, and if you're hearing me live, awesome. If you're hearing me on replay, that's great too. I appreciate you giving me your time any way it comes that you hear, and are interested in what I'm talking about, which is awesome. So tonight, I just want to jump in and say, I wanted to talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a really huge piece in our lives to be able to let go of things of the past that don't serve us anymore. And I have held on to stuff like everyone else. We all have forgiveness in our hearts. Doesn't mean whoever hurt us or the perpetrators or the violators or the scammers, that they need to be in our life, whether it's friends, family. No. So forgiveness, what I know to be true, is really all about us. It's, been something that I've carried around with someone for years that I decided I'm done. I cannot carry it around anymore. And I've been personally just doing some meditations regarding forgiveness. And what's been interesting, it's only been in a short time, which has been very interesting, is that in my readings, whether it's in my sessions privately, Zoom, in person, or on TikTok, the last 2 weeks or so, the card forgiveness has come up about over 10 times. Okay. And I said, whoa. When I got it for me in one of my readings, I was like, wow. And I'm going to read the meaning of the forgiveness card. It came up in a session that I had with a client today. That was her first card, which whenever you do an oracle card reading, the first card's usually the anchor card, at least how I read. So it was interesting because forgiveness came up again. So I'm going to read you the meaning of this card, and then I'm going to pull a card for all of us about what do we need to know about forgiveness, okay? And then I have some things I want to share with you on what forgiveness ultimately really means. But I'm going to share the forgiveness card 49 with you because it's come up so much, and it says a collective in the stars of what's happening for all of us. Drawing this marker says that you must now search your heart for any unresolved resentment, anger, or disagreements between you and another. If you are still hurt or angry about another's behavior, or if there are circumstances in your life that you resent, this is a time when it's critical to release the negative energy surrounding those situations. Resisting this will only impede your growth and draw more unwanted experiences to you. Resentment and anger are emotions that are actually bind you and hook you to the events that cause you the suffering, keeping them alive inside of you and draining your life force energy. I realize that. Nothing good comes from hate, anger, or resentment. Peace can only come from forgiveness. When you release what binds you to the old negativity. I mean, forgiveness is about the past. It's not forgiving the future, And we often get caught up in the past. What ifs, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, or screw them, they screwed me, whatever it is. So it's always forgiveness is from the past. Perhaps you need to forgive yourself for putting unrealistic expectations on situations, resulting possibly in self sabotage, projections tainted by perfectionism. Look at the world and see how the lack of forgiveness feeds turmoil and suffering around you. Forgiveness is the key to freedom and peace, and it starts within you. This marker requires you to practice forgiveness so that you can be an active part of spreading peace and beauty throughout this troubled world we're living in now. Wow, wow, wow. That just was like really hit home. Okay. So I just realized that I'm not the only one that's going to need to forgive stuff. And let's dive into it and talk about it. Does it resonate with anybody about forgiving yourself? Okay, so I'm going to start just for a couple minutes on my notes. First of all, with forgiveness, you have to acknowledge your emotions and recognize and accept the pain, anger, or resentment that you're feeling. And it's okay to experience these emotions because they're all natural. It's whether we keep them trapped or not. Understand the situation. Try to gain perspective by considering the circumstances that may have contributed to the other person's actions. This doesn't justify their behavior in any way, but it can help you see the broader picture. Like, what's my part in this? Tango it takes two to tango, right? But what's your part in it? Empathize with the other person. Try to put yourself in their shoes and understand their motives, struggles, or personal history. This can also help with your compassion and a path towards forgiveness. The other key things are release expectations. Oh my gosh, no kidding. Let go of any expectations you have about the other person's apologizing or making amends. Forgiveness is totally about your own healing and growth, regardless of whatever the response is. Like, I have to share a story. I went to an event recently and I needed to, I was working on forgiveness with this person that was a really deep wound for me. And I was at an event and I went up to the person and I just said, "Hi, I hope you're doing well," period. And I left. And it was so healing for me. My heart opened up and I felt so much relief in doing what I was fearful of because forgiveness takes courage. It takes, you know, balls, excuse me, to do that. So I put my big girl panties on and did it. And I felt so much better because it's for me, right? Focus on yourself. Prioritize your well being and self care and engage in activities that really bring you joy. Seek support from loved ones or professionals and practice self compassion during the healing process of forgiveness. I mean, some people, it's like a light switch. You could just go, "Oh, I totally forgive them. I'm done. I let it go." For me, it wasn't that easy because it was so long and so deep. And I'm sensitive, So choose forgiveness ultimately is the conscious decision. It doesn't mean condoning the hurtful actions, but it allows you to release the burden and find freedom from the pain. It's a gift to give yourself. It's like, absolutely. And so when this card's come up so many times, okay, there is a huge message in it, not just for me, because it came up so many times for other people, but it did come up 3 times for me in a short amount of time. It's like, okay, universe, I hear you. I'm doing the work. The work is just to let go. I do it through meditation. This also, the truth is once you forgive someone and you keep working on it, it might come up. It's like weeds, you might have to go, "Oh, wow, now I'm having a resentful thought," or "I need to pull that up, that up, that up." You don't need to have them in your life. It's not about having them in your life. It's about you being whole and clear with you in your heart. So we need to forgive others and ourselves for several other reasons. It's emotional well-being. Holding on to grudges or self-blame keeps us trapped in negative emotions, and it doesn't bring us inner peace. Okay. Healing and closure. Forgiveness can be a critical step in the healing process. It allows us to acknowledge the pain and move toward finding closure from past hurts or mistakes. It enables us to release the grip of the past and embrace a more positive and fulfilling future. It's so true. Forgiveness, like I said, only happens from the past. Relationship improvements. Forgiveness can repair and strengthen relationships. We know that. And holding on to resentments carries barriers and distance between people. By forgiving, we open the door to reconciliation, rebuilding trust, fostering healthier connections with others. Any comments does this resonate? Someone commented, I found when I forgave, it did not burden me anymore. Yeah, interesting. I find it difficult, from Allison, when I can see things from their point of view, but they are unwilling to see how I'm feeling. Letting go is hard sometimes. It's hard. Letting go is not easy. It's the most important thing to do, though. It's constantly letting go, right? It's not just, at least for most people, it's a process. And then what I know to be true is when you've healed that wound or that part of you, and that person or that event or that situation is brought up to you, then you have no charge on it. You have no emotion and you're in neutrality. And that's the goal, is to just be neutral, have that little piece of peace in your heart, and then that's the freedom. It's going, oh, that's okay. You can talk about them. I don't care about that or whatever happened, or, that's what I believe. Freedom is empowerment. Forgiveness empowers us to take control of our own emotions and choices. It allows us to reclaim our personal power from the hands of those who may have hurt us, or from our own self-judgment. Forgiving others and ourselves gives us freedom to live more authentically and peacefully. Who doesn't want more of that? Ultimately, forgiveness is a deeply personal experience. It's like grieving, or it's like falling in love. Those are really deep emotions. And each one of us are on an individual path. So we're going to forgive differently, and we're going to love differently, right? And we're going to let go differently. We're going to grieve differently. With forgiveness also comes grief. In my, spirits are talking work, I work with a lot of grief and moving through things. And I'm a medium that gets a lot of apologies from the other side. And so with the forgiveness also is letting go of some grief. Okay. So what happens when you forgive is you have emotional liberation, you have stress reduction. The act of forgiving can alleviate stress and anxiety. Oh my gosh, who doesn't want more of that, right? I'm thinking, look at all these benefits. When we hold on to grudges or self-blame, it can create ongoing tension in our minds and bodies. Our thoughts create illnesses and things in our bodies if we don't keep clearing them. Similarly, self-forgiveness can help us repair our relationship with ourselves, fostering self-acceptance and more self-love. Improve mental and physical health. Holding on to grudges and self-blame can have effects on our mental and physical health. It's so true. Forgiveness has been linked to lower the levels of depression, anxiety, and stress. It can also contribute to improved cardiovascular health and overall well-being. It's so true. Remember that forgiveness is a choice and a healing process that varies from each individual. It's a powerful tool that allows us to reclaim our personal power, find peace in ourselves, and create a space for growth, connection with others, and to shine our light even brighter. So that's what I know to be true. And I'm going to bring up, I hope that resonates with you. Who do you need to forgive? What situations do you need to let go of? Is this serving me anymore? It's not. When you are not forgiving, your light is dimmed. It just is. Since I started doing this and I made called action steps, things have changed already dramatically around me. And it's interesting. So there's there's all the universal laws, and one of them is forgiveness, because it keeps you locked into a place that's only from the past, and it doesn't keep you with your eye on the prize moving forward. So I suggest forgiveness is really important, especially now with the way the planets are in the sky. I talk about this a lot, and I'm not an astrologer, but I do follow astrology. We just had a new moon on abundance. Forgiveness, letting go creates more abundance. There's a lot of abundance energy in the sky right now. I digressed a little bit, but this is a time to tap in because the universe and the planets are supporting us to let go, start a fresh slate with the new moon. That's what it's about. And forgive and see what happens when you make space for good and new. A lot of other things can come in when you let all that stuff go. Okay, I'm done on my soapbox for now. I really hope that resonates because it's really, really impacted me by having this card come up so many times for so many people in the last 10 days about. So that's why I thought this is what we need to talk about tonight. Having said that, I'm going to pull up Taylor. And Taylor, who's Taylor? Taylor is my fabulous assistant, my virtual assistant. And it's a great story with Taylor. So come on up, Taylor, and say hi. We're going to have a conversation about this. Anyone else want to chime in? Please do. I'm on Facebook Live and Facebook Live and YouTube. So if you want to comment or you want to come up, you can come up in the back, which we'll pull up and talk about forgiveness. Hi, Taylor.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Welcome. Hi, everyone. How are you tonight?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Good. I'm good. You look so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Lipstick.
Same with you.
Taylor, thank you. Taylor is one of my oldest friend's daughter. Okay. Taylor's mom and I met each other when we were 4 years old, and her mom was my next door neighbor forever until my parents moved out of the house. And it's only recently that your mom sold that house. So Taylor's mom is named Gina, and Gina and I were talking one day and said, "Oh, Taylor can do that." I'm like, "What?" So Taylor and I connected, and we've been working together for a while now. And I'm so grateful for you. She helps me a lot.
Oh,
And so yay, Taylor. Hi, thanks for being here.
Thank you for the lovely introduction. It is a pleasure to work with you. I think we've been working for about a year.
Yeah, ready about a year.
Yep.
You know what's great is Taylor totally gets me. So Taylor's for hire, but not on Saturday nights, meaning not when I need her. Just kidding. That was used to happen in a circle of like babysitters. You know, oh, you have a babysitter? Yeah, but you can't use it on Saturday night. So that's a joke, inside joke. But anyway, so Taylor, you do editing, talk about you for a minute.
Yes, so I am self-employed. I have been self-employed for about 2 years. I work as a digital content creator, writer, and editor. Of course, I work with you as a virtual assistant. I do some work on Fiverr, so people can find me there. I also do a few other side gigs, collecting recycling in my local neighborhood. Helps clean up the community, and it just keeps my community as well as Earth a little bit cleaner. So
That's so nice.
Yeah. I also sell products and clothing on Facebook Marketplace, so that's just kind of a side hustle for me.
Awesome. So you got your hands in a lot of things.
Oh, quite a bit, yeah.
And Taylor totally gets me, which I love because I'm dyslexic and I, do typos in my emails. Sometimes I just can't help it, and I try really hard, but she really helps me out a lot. So I'm so grateful with ideas and all kinds of things. So it's been an honor and a privilege to work with you. And I was saying to Gina, who I've known literally minus 4 years,
Yeah.
You were holding out on me, excuse me. So anyway, we're talking about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do you know about forgiveness? I wanted someone else to bounce up, off things. So Taylor and I've talked about forgiveness a lot in the past, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. I have been kind of intrigued by this topic. I don't have a ton of experience with forgiveness. I do have some experience working with toxic relationships and some narcissism. So that's kind of where I was introduced to the topic. How about you? I know you've got some stories and some history with some narcissists. I think you were mentioning that at the start of the show as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And narcissism's like, a whole nother like realm, for me, with the narcissist that I've had in my life, and I didn't know it until only about 11 or 12 years ago did I put
Mhm.
that behavior with the face, you know what I mean? Like I had
Mhm.
to really like peel an onion and go, oh my God, that happened to me. That happened to me. That's crazy. Like I didn't know about narcissism really until about 12 years ago or so. And it was a whole new thing. With a narcissist and with really anyone, in my view, and in my coaching work, is we're never going to get the closure from an apology that we want,
Yeah.
right? So if you think like the person or the narcissist in your life and in my life is going to say, hey, I'm so sorry I messed you up, blah, 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 and have it mean really anything other than to benefit them in
Yes.
some way, it's never going to happen. So we don't all, and I raised my kids with this thought too, and is the only closure we really get is with ourselves in forgiveness. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree. I didn't stumble onto the topic of narcissism probably until the last couple of years. There are some great doctors that talk about it on YouTube as well. So I highly recommend people check this topic out. If you think you are experiencing a relationship with someone that's narcissistic, definitely look into the topic. You will find there are other methods that they use, which includes forgiveness, that they will use to benefit themselves in your relationship. So,
Can you explain that more? So forgiveness on their end, like, oh, please forgive me. I'm so
mhm.
sorry. And then there's a hook at the end. Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely. They will use forgiveness to get on your good side. So if they do something to hurt you or wrong you, betray you, they will come back and seek forgiveness. They do that for social approval. So there are some social benefits. They're hoping to reconnect with you if the bridge isn't burned completely. Even then, they might extend a hand and reach out. It could be years later, even if they need something from you. So they will use you, they will mend the relationship, but it's very surface level, artificial. They will do that so they can continue using you, essentially. That's what I found with certain narcissists in my life and in some of my family's life, people they know.
And
So,
so when you forgive a narcissist, it doesn't mean you have to have a relationship with them again, right? If you
mm,
discovered that they're toxic and that there's like no more forgiving, I mean, I forgave hundreds and hundreds of times horrible, horrible actions against me on in a few different relationships, and like, whoa. And some of them are unforgivable. They're not. They're forgivable. Just forgive the whole situation, the whole like bubble and all the crap that comes with it, right? Is that's what I'm
absolutely.
doing. It's like, and do I want them in my life anymore? No. So
Mhm.
so your point of view on the narcissistic side is they're going to come back to you and say, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. You're going to forgive them, and then they're going to do another thing to hurt you because the forgiveness is really for their motives.
Yes, that is correct. They will use any means, and this includes love bombing. I recently came across this term. So
Yes.
they will seek forgiveness. They will say that they're sorry till the cows come home. They may provide affection. They may give you gifts.
Oh,
They
yeah.
may promise you things. Yeah. So they will do that just so they can mend the relationship and they will continue to use you. If you forgive them, they're likely going to continue that behavior because you're not indicating any kind of boundaries, no barriers with the relationship. So they see it as I can walk on this person, I can use this person, and they won't put up a fight essentially.
Right. And then they'll burn your ass, excuse
Yep.
me, again.
Yep.
And then time will pass. So what I know to be true about this topic is, and we're going to circle back to us because it's really
Mhm.
about us. Excuse me, but what I know to be true is they don't have a deep, sincere level of anything. They're
No.
narcissists are just really empty people that are very small egos and are very broken inside, and your feelings don't matter at all. And they cannot, part of forgiveness, like I mentioned before, is putting yourself in someone else's shoes. They can never do that ever in a million years. And
Mhm.
so when, we're talking about forgiveness, which is really for ourselves, how do you see forgiving a narcissist?
Well, I have forgiven narcissists from previous relationships. It did get to the point where you have to leave the relationship. It's for your own good, really, for your mental, emotional, and physical health.
Oh,
A
yeah.
toxic relationship is nothing that you should stay in. Um, yeah, and they're gonna move on and they're gonna use someone else. I've noticed this. If you do put your foot down with a narcissist, they will, yeah, they're butt hurt, but they will drop kick you like a hot potato and they will move on to the next person they can use.
Totally. And
Mhm.
oftentimes they have a person already lined up or
They
another
do.
supply. It's called supply
Yep.
because they really drain you. And I'm just going to cover this for a second. Narcissists love empaths. They love smart people. They love someone that's got something shinier than them or something like that. Right.
Yep. Hmm.
And then, yeah, well, I've been forgiving a few narcissists in my life. And I don't necessarily need to have them in my life again, nor do I crave it or want it. But
Hmm.
back to the forgiveness piece. What have you done to forgive some of those actions for you?
I do, because I feel that I am empathic. I try to put myself in their situation. I also look at it in a objective manner, just because people do get emotional, they get heated, and takes time. Actually, forgiveness is a process. It takes a very long time, depending on the person. Um, you might not be ready to step back and look at everything objectively, but when you're able to do that, it's easier to forgive, in my opinion.
Definitely. Oh my God. I mean, I had years of conditioning with the narcissist. Are you
Mhm.
kidding me? A
Yep.
few different times. And it was like, what? This is not normal. Those patterns, those relationships create patterning, I think.
Yes.
And when, especially if you were young, that creates patterning and someone's writing trauma related. Yeah.
Mhm.
Courtney's writing, they want your light. They want your light.
They do.
They do. It's like life force. And so, yeah, you have to step back and peel the onion and go, wow, this happened to me. This is what I'm working through. This now I know it and I don't have to partake in it anymore, but I can forgive myself for staying too long. Or I
Mhm.
forgive myself for not saying screw you a long time ago, right?
Yes. I think for people that suffer from relationships with narcissists, even when you get out of one, I do recommend that you talk with loved ones if you have that resource or if you can seek therapy, because there is a level of gaslighting that occurs with a narcissistic relationship. So it may be difficult for you to forgive yourself, um, just because your reality and your point of view is actually warped. It's been distorted
Yeah,
by the narcissist. So you may not think that they did anything wrong. You don't know if you did something wrong. They may have gaslit you to think you were the problem. So you have to step back and forgive them and forgive yourself and change your perspective. Actually, it's not just forgiving. I think in that type of relationship scenario, you really have to change the mental gears and the way you perceive the world, the way you perceive others and yourself. You have to change all of that.
right.
Yeah.
Because their narrative of you is not the truth.
Hmm.
But they try to convince you that you're less than or.
Yeah,
This whole thing. We could do a whole show on narcissism.
absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know, but I want to get back to the forgiveness piece, and I want to pull a
Mhm.
card for all of us, okay, regarding forgiveness. So, what do we need to know besides the forgiveness card in order to move forward and heal? Okay, because that's what it's about. I don't care how old you are, what your you know status is in the world, where you come from, what your circumstances are on any level. We're all human. We all have red blood, and we all have forgiveness, and we've all been hurt. We've all had loss, and how do people handle it? I want to know in the comments, or if you want to come up, maybe Todd can throw the backstage link to come up if someone wants to join us in this topic. That would be great. If you're watching me on other social media, please go to spiritsartalking.com or Spirits Are Talking on Facebook and join us live if you want to come up. I'd love it. So what do we need to know for healing around the forgiveness piece? Okay, what do we need to know? Like, what's a good action or what needs to get out of the way? Orphaned. Oftentimes, we feel orphaned.
Yep.
Okay? When you're forgiving and around the narcissist piece for sure, it's card number 5, we feel orphaned, like we're left out in the cold. They have a way of doing that, right? You can't make this up. A sense of loss, an identity crisis, recognizing that you don't fit in, need to belong, uncertainty about your place. This is so related to the narcissistic.
Absolutely.
We are all meant to have connections with other people within our family, society, and the larger culture. No man is an island, and it's important to recognize when being part of rather than separate from is essential in your well-being. This issue at hand is to find where you fit, but be true to your core truths and values. Perhaps you are no longer identify with a group or community the way you did before, and need to find a new situation. You might be feeling a deep sense of loss or confusion. Address the need for belonging and know that you will find your place with others of like-minded spirit. It's okay to let go of pressure to fit in. Not everyone will understand you, and it's time to move on. What the heck? Does this resonate with anybody? The orphan card? I mean, seriously. I'm going to read the relationship piece. As you shift and evolve and commit to your own growth, you long for support but may be disappointed and hurt by others who are not providing what you feel you deserve. Perhaps you are drifting away from this relationship because you are in a different stage of personal growth. Perhaps you are in a new relationship and discovering that you don't share the same values and beliefs, so you feel left out, unable to get to the intimate place of safety and belonging. Take heart, as Spirit knows you and loves you and will steer you in the direction of those who accept you as you are without artificialness or other agendas. Don't compromise yourself to belong. It won't be worth the price. Wow.
Yep.
Does that resonate?
There are no coincidences.
There are no coincidences. So when you're going through the forgiveness process, especially with the narcissist, we're tying that together, then you're going to feel orphaned. You're going to feel like, where do I belong? I thought I fit in. Wait, this relationship wasn't what I thought it was, because it's a lie. The relationship's a lie, right? With
Absolutely. Well, you accommodate who you are and you compromise to accommodate the narcissist. And over time, especially, anywhere from 5 to 10 years, if you're in a marriage, for example, with a narcissist, they will slowly chip away at who you are, your inner being and your character. So by the time the relationship ends, you have no idea who you are. You don't know what you want in life. You don't know what your preferences are. You may not have any hobbies, or you did at the start of the relationship and you abandoned them towards the end of the relationship. So I definitely feel that you have a complete crisis of identity. You don't know, what's your
Yeah, and the same's true for when you grew up with narcissists in families or narcissistic and friends, and then you think those patterns are the way relationships are. And then we realize absolutely not. When you get, the more healthy you become, the more sane people around you have to become,
Yeah.
right? The more it's true. So then you recognize, like, wow, that was just all fake anyway. They didn't really love me, or they didn't really care for me, or it was all, based on their own motivations. So you're absolutely right. I agree that you feel orphaned, when the relationship ends, or you create a boundary and say no more, or however it unfolds, right? And you can't really heal in a narcissistic relationship. You just can't.
No. I firmly believe there is no mending it. You can tolerate the relationship with the narcissist, but it will always be at your detriment. Yeah.
walking on eggshells,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
or time bombs or hand grenades in the fields, whatever.
Oh yeah, the short temper, the gaslighting, of course.
So what is
Bullying.
gaslighting if people don't know what gaslighting is?
So, for the audiences that don't know what gaslighting is, essentially it is whenever a person that you are associating with, if you're in a relationship, it could be a family member, it could be a romantic partner, they say things and do things to make you perceive that what you're experiencing, your reality, is not actually reality. They will fool you into believing that what they're saying is the truth. So they might tell you something, or they might do something, they might promise something. And when you confront them about that, they will say, I never said that. I never did that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. They take no responsibility,
Yep.
and they rewrite history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They will even go as far as to tell you you're insane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or that's not true. And then there's witnesses, and they still don't care.
Yep.
Right?
They're all against me. They're all crazy. Your
Yeah.
friends are all liars. They're bad people. They will say things like that. They will isolate you as well. So over
Yeah.
time, when they say these things,
Includes you. Yeah.
yep.
They'll try. So like, we have to forgive ourselves for staying in that. So
Mhm.
like, what's the red flag so that you don't do that again? You know what I mean?
Oh, it is so difficult to dissect the psychology of the human mind. You could find that you get out of a narcissistic relationship, you go to therapy, you might think you're healed, then you end up right back into another narcissistic relationship. So
Yeah.
it's kind of difficult if you can spot the red flags and you do some research and you're like, okay, that's a red flag that I didn't see in my last relationship. You might be able to fix that or leave the relationship when you enter a new one. That might be also a narcissistic relationship.
So in a romantic relationship, it's the love bombing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And what does love bombing mean? It means over texting you. You're the
Mhm.
most beautiful thing I ever met. Flowers,
Kisses,
yeah,
yes.
gifts, promises, and then they start falling through, right?
Yep.
Or these grandiose things.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
They will
know.
do anything to make you forgive them. So
Or
whatever they know, they will
bombing.
examine what you like and what your preferences are, and they will attack that. They will attack that.
I know, it's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
You think they care about you, and that's the whole illusion.
Courtney's writing, they are good at acting. We want to help people. And
Mhm.
generally these people who end up in these relationships are light workers. Exactly.
Yeah.
Use your secrets against you. Oh, totally.
Yes.
That happened to me. Oh man. Absolutely. It's like, wait a minute. I've said that's below the belt. You don't ever do that to me again. You know? And
Mhm.
you know what they do is teach us boundaries.
Yes.
Teach us how to assert ourselves when you're like, wow, I can't believe I even have to do this or say this or create
Yes.
line in the sand, right?
Exactly.
A brick
Sometimes
wall.
you're like, why did I ever, put up with that? Especially if it becomes violent, I would highly recommend that you seek, some help. If you have a friend,
Oh,
family
yeah,
members,
if it's violent, you have to get out immediately.
don't put up with that. Don't do that.
Mm-mm. No, absolutely not. So any comments or questions? Does anyone want to come up and share or write in the comments? Who are you forgiving? Or what situation do you need to forgive? Taylor, what about you? What are you forgiving tonight?
For me, I'm still actively working on this. My previous living situation, I have some serious forgiving to do for multiple people. The people that I lived with, one of them was my partner. I have to forgive him. I'm slowly getting there. Just, long story short, the living situation wasn't ideal. The homeowner we were renting from was irresponsible. He had drug and alcohol problems, which he wasn't aware of, but I was aware of that. If you're living with that type of roommate, essentially, it becomes a toxic. It's very toxic. There's cockroaches, things would break and they never get fixed. So I'm still, we just moved into a lovely 1 bedroom and it is beautiful. Brand new house.
Yay.
Yeah, it took a whole year to manifest, but I have to move on and forgive. I still find that I wake up and I get angry about things that happened at the previous house.
Uh-huh.
I get angry about, what I put up with.
Right.
Yeah. And it wasn't an ideal situation where you could just drop everything and move. So, you feel like you're stuck. So I have to forgive myself too for feeling so resentful of everything, the situation, the homeowner, and my boyfriend. So that's what I'm working on.
That's great.
Yeah.
And like you said, it doesn't happen overnight, but you know what? Can I just offer you some coaching on that since I do this with
Yes.
people? So one of the things that I've heard and been practicing is I'm so happy and grateful now that, okay, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm out of there. I'm so happy and grateful now that I did what I did the other day. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm in forgiveness mode. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm manifesting a new life because you just said manifesting, right?
Yeah.
So I'm so happy and grateful now that that's behind me, right?
Yeah. Because I don't want those negative thoughts to block me from keeping pushing forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And forgiveness, like I said, is only from the past.
Yep.
So if we could put it in a bubble, right? Like put that whole scenario of your house and all that in a bubble and like blow it up at the Pacific Ocean and let it go. I do exercises like that. Maybe we should do one. Should we do one?
I think so. If everyone's got something in mind.
Exercise about forgiveness. I call it blowing roses. Anybody want to do an exercise? I'm looking at my phone. Sorry, because I'm. Anybody want to do a forgiveness exercise? No, maybe not. Yes, please. Okay, let's. Okay, and I love that Courtney said this. The previous self, I forgive her. Oh, amen, girl. I feel you. I forgive my previous self too. And why I stayed too long, or why I listened, or why I believed that person, or why I let her treat me like that, or him like that. So, okay, if you guys want to join me, this is so powerful. I learned this when my little girl was probably like 5, long time ago. And I've been woo-woo since I came out of the womb, okay? Pretty much. So this is a great exercise to do. And it's just about forgiveness and ending karma. And it'll take about 2 minutes. It's a visualization. And I hope you enjoy this because I think this is great. And I'm going to do it with you. Okay. So if you want to uncross your legs, whether you're watching live or in replay, I'd like you to uncross your legs so that the energy flows and get comfortable just for a minute. Take a breath. We're going to close your eyes. If you're driving, obviously can't do that. Pull over or save it. This is a powerful exercise on releasing, because that's what we are doing when we're forgiving. We're releasing and letting go. Okay? So if you could please close your eyes. Take a big deep breath in and hold it for 3. Then let it go. Take another big deep breath in and hold it for 3. Let it go. There you go. So I'd like you to imagine out in front of you, we have a energy bubble that's 3 feet out in front of us, our aura. Out in front of that, a big, bright, beautiful red rose. It's the size of a beach ball. And in that beautiful rose, you're going to put the main person that you need to forgive. Just imagine them in that big, beautiful red rose. There you go. And then I'd like you to imagine these branches that are really long branches, and they're agreements. They represent agreements that you made consciously or unconsciously with them. And you're going to break all those branches or sticks, however you see it, in half and break those agreements. It's energetically, and it works. And you don't have to know all the agreements, but you're going to put all those sticks or branches, and throw it in that big, bright, beautiful red rose. And breathe. There you go. And then I want you to imagine a golden ring, but the ring has a piece missing. And the golden ring represents karma and ending karma and creating a safe place for you. So I want you to imagine that beautiful golden ring and put it around that rose. And then notice that you're completing that. You're completing all of it by filling in the ring. So now it's a circle. Perfect. And just say, I forgive you, I forgive you, I let you go, I let you go. I wish you peace, I wish you love. We're good here, we're complete. Whatever it is that you need to say in that rose. And then you're going to send that rose up above the building, wherever you are, 100 feet, and out into the ocean, wherever that is for you. Just imagine it going straight over the Pacific Ocean, if you're by the Pacific, whatever ocean's close to you. And I want you to imagine that you've lit a bomb underneath it, and it's going to explode. So on the count of 3, you light a bomb underneath that rose above the ocean, and it's going to explode. 1, 2, 3. Boom. You see all the petals flying everywhere. All that energy is gone. And breathe. And I call that blowing roses. And open your eyes and tell me how you feel.
Woo!
Do you feel different?
Lighter, more relaxed, less tense.
Right?
Yep.
It's a 2-minute exercise that has a lot of punch and power to get that out of your space. That's what I've done. I've done, greenhouses full of roses. Somebody feels great. People feel lighter. I love it. Okay. So anyone want to comment on the forgiveness piece? And I'm so glad you let me do that, because it does make a difference. You can do it on replay. It's a great technique. So it's interesting about you're welcome, about ending the karma with the sticks and the agreements, and then ending the karma with the ring, breaking those agreements that you've made. Those things are symbolic, and that people think it's so woo-woo, but it does, energy is powerful, so it does shift, right?
Oh, heck yeah. So is there any other techniques? I think you've talked about cord cutting. Does that tie in?
Yes. Oh my gosh, cord cutting. Let's dive into it. Thanks, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's cord cutting? Cord cutting is it's called snail trails, or energy we leave behind. We get attached to people with love from the heart, or the third chakra, which is the yellow chakra, which is the solar plexus, where attachments of anger are developed. And it's a known fact that we are connected to a lot of people. So I personally have to cut cords a lot, because it sucks your energy. Cord cutting is a great technique if you visualize the person out in front of you, like 6 feet away, especially if they've been threatening or whatever. You want them far away, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So then you imagine from your belly button, or that third chakra area, you see, and you can see the cords, that you can come out of your heart, connected to the other person. Then you do a creative visualization, and I invite Archangel Michael, who has this cobalt blue sort of light, to come in and cut those cords and seal that energy up. I do that whole process in one of my services. So that's another way, because energy is powerful. I mean, when I did what I did the other day, my energy was like from 7 to 11 in a minute. It was awesome. Seconds, right?
Heck yeah.
Meditating too. If you can't meditate, meditation means a lot of different things for people. For me, it's not going into a dark closet, sitting in Om for 2 hours, That can work for some people, but that doesn't work for me. I meditate sitting in a chair, lying down. I do it myself with just music, or I do guided imagery meditations. And there's some really great meditations and books on the audio that you can listen to on forgiveness. And when you release that energy and visualize it really leaving your body, I do a lot of energy work, so I know it works. I'm not a medical doctor, but I know that energy shifting really works. So cord cutting is very, very powerful. It can be to the throat, like what you didn't say to that person or what they stopped you from saying, so that's a good technique for sure.
Oh, I totally agree.
We have to have all these tools in our tool belt, because the narcissists and the people that hurt people. And most empaths don't go around hurting people, right?
Oh, no. I think we internalize it, we ruminate on it, and that's why forgiveness is so important. So I totally agree that cord cutting would be very effective. If you got thoughts rolling around your head about something that happened 5 years ago, and you're like, I could have said this, or I could have done that, or why didn't things end this way? It's time to let that go.
Of course. And what's the funniest thing is, how many times do we have arguments with other people in our head that happened 5 years ago? A lot.
Yep.
People do that a lot. Like, I should have said that, you're such a jerk or whatever, or I should have had my boundary. You're having an argument and you're letting someone else run space in your head.
Yes.
And by forgiving, you get your head back, and they're not in it for rent free.
Heck right? Yeah. Absolutely. Put those thoughts to rest and close the door on whatever that event, situation, or even that person. They don't need to occupy your mind, because you're not occupying their mind. For the most part.
And you're right. However, there's a however. They can't occupy your mind. They can, because their power of thinking about you, right? They can project those thoughts through the ethers to you. And then if you feel, I feel like they're thinking about me, they probably are.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of heebie. And then you're like, so what do? Like, I take salt baths, or I rub myself with salt. Salt really helps get energy off of you. It's very healing and cleansing. And sometimes when they're thinking of you, they're thinking of you, right? But they're not having the same arguments probably in their head if they're narcissists, because they already won the fight.
Yeah.
They already came out on top. Let me see some of the comments. The mind is a mystery. I have a friend in Scotland. She loves her light language. Yeah. Yes, it's real. We are energy. The hardest part was trying to not fight the fights and take your sanity. Absolutely. Courtney. Oh my God, we have to leave in a minute.
Woo, okay. It goes quick.
This time went by quick. Taylor, thank you for sharing. What's your takeaway for doing what are you going to do? What exercise would work for you?
I think for me, I'm going to use meditation. That's been something I've been meaning to do a lot more of. I used to do like 5 minutes a day, and then that just kind of fell off to the side. So I'm definitely going to pick that up. Like you said, salt is probably a good thing. I've got a couple salt lamps around the house, so I'm going to be plugging those in and try and neutralize the energy in my house.
I love that. Right. And saging your house after an argument or a fight creates forgiveness and cleanses the house. But the most important piece, why I wanted to talk about this, was really the forgiveness for ourselves. And who do we need to forgive in order to have the life that we really want? Because when you get rid of that big piece that's blocking your heart or your health and your mind, then you have more space to create the life that you want. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And you have more love in your heart, for yourself and others. And so those things, you can just leave that in the past and not relive the past anymore, because forgiveness is really about the past. You can't forgive the future because it's not here yet. So if we were really living in the moment, when I think about this out loud, if we were really living in the moment, we'd be neutral.
Oh, yeah. And I think we would be getting way better sleep at night instead of being awake, tossing and turning, thinking about somebody.
Yeah. Because I've woken up startled from a few people. Like, you know?
Oh, yeah. I think that can seep into your nightmares. So definitely forgive the person, forgive the situation, and
Forgive yourself for staying too long.
yes.
Forgive yourself for not having the boundaries, and know that moving forward, you get to be different. And like Courtney said, forgive your past self. Because right now, again, with the skies and the way these planets are, and eclipses are coming and retrogrades are happening, it's a fresh start. Who do you want to become in order to have the life that you want? And it's starting with forgiveness and love. Because really, love is the answer.
Yep, always.
Thank you so much, Taylor. I will talk to you hopefully tomorrow.
Mhm.
I appreciate you being on here for this conversation. I loved it.
Thank you for having me on.
So much. Thank you for being in my life. I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you too.
Thank you so much. Good night, everybody. I know you can be anywhere in the world and you stayed with us. And I hope you find your forgiveness in your heart and set yourself free, because it's really only for you, not for the other person. Not forgiving is you drinking the poison and expecting them to get sick or die. That's not going to work. Don't do it. Bring in the love in your heart. Forgive. Thank you, everybody.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.